Hey folks, long time no see. If you're new here, I'm David, and I'm a guitar player. And this video is gonna be a little different. Because we need to talk about Smoke on the Water. Yes, Smoke on the Water. You know, the easiest riff of all time. But what if I told you that you, yes, you, have been playing the quote easiest riff of all time wrong this entire time? That would be pretty crazy, right? Well, it's true. Let's dive into it. This is how everyone learns to play Smoke on the Water. This is the version that has ingrained itself into popular guitar culture with the 035 meme, and it's the thing that every beginner learns as one of their first things, or as their first thing. Was one of the first riffs I learned as well. Well, that's wrong. And most people assume it's correct because everyone teaches it this way, so there's no way it would be wrong, right? Well, it's wrong. Later, after I started playing guitar, I became a pretty huge Deep Purple fan. They're actually my favorite band. So I was watching some YouTube videos of Deep Purple playing live, and I stumbled upon the Super 8 footage of the band performing at the Tokyo Budokan in 1972, the last night recorded for Made in Japan. I was pretty excited because I had no idea there was footage of Made in Japan. And one of the songs captured was Smoke on the Water, and there is a great shot of Ritchie Blackmore during the intro. That's when I noticed something. He's not playing at 035. His hand is in a way different position. And the footage is very well synced up. You can see like from the dive he does and everything. So it's not a mistake in the footage. That's how he plays it. This led me down an internet rabbit hole where I started looking up as many live performances of Smoke on the Water with Ritchie Blackmore as I could. Because while I had seen other performances, I had never actually paid attention to Blackmore's hands during the riff. So I started listening and looking more closely. And I also started listening really closely to the original isolated guitar track. That's when I had an epiphany. Oh my god, have all of us been playing Smoke on the Water wrong this entire time? Well, that's true. Everyone plays it wrong. But I just couldn't believe it. I felt like I was losing my mind. So I thought, no, most people, like the professionals, must be teaching it correctly. It's just the beginner tabs that have it wrong. So I went down another internet rabbit hole where I looked up as many tabs, instructional videos, you name it. Everything just to see if a single soul was teaching it 100% correctly. And guess what? No one taught it correctly. No one. So here I am making this video. If you want to play Smoke on the Water 100% correctly, like how Ritchie Blackmore played it in the original studio recording, first you need to pluck the strings with your fingers. Your thumb and your index to be more precise, like this. Plucking the strings like this is kind of a Blackmore signature with his riffs. He plays Woman from Tokyo like this. Man on the Silver Mountain as well. It's one of his signatures, and if you listen closely to the studio recording, you'll hear the plucking in the riff because there is no attack from the pick. It's softer. And second, you need to play it in this position up here, like this. Notice how much closer that sounds to the studio recording compared to the 035 version. It has that thicker, bassier quality, and it's also a little bit softer because you're plucking instead of attacking it with a pick. And there's actually more than one way to play it even in the studio version. What I played right now was the intro. where it sounds like Richie's a little unsure of the riff, so he plays it very stop and go staccato. And there's also that little mute at the end of the riff that everyone forgets about. Later on in the song, it sounds like he grows more confident in the riff, so he lets the notes ring out a little more. And he also changes the ending of the riff by just hammering on the last dyad like this. So that's the studio version, but what about live? After all, it was a live video that triggered this whole rabbit hole for me. Well, in the early days of the song live, Richie played it in the original position, although sometimes using the neck pickup, so it has a darker sound. Sometimes he played it with the fingers, sometimes with the pick. The Made in Japan version from August 50 in 1972 in Osaka is a great example of this, where he opens the song with the plucking and then switches to the pick. And there's something very important about the picking when you're playing this riff like Blackmore does, because he plays it with upstrokes. The upstrokes, just like the plucking, is another signature Blackmore mark. He does it in a lot of his riffs and solos. If you watch his picking hand live, he does a lot of upstrokes. Like the stabs in Highway Star are all upstrokes, for example. Burn is mostly upstrokes, with only the low G being a downstroke. So, he played Smoke on the Water with upstrokes. Make sure to also pick very close to the bridge, so you'll get that really snappy Blackmore sound, like this. That's how he played it in the early days of the song live. Later, by late 73, he started playing it in this position, down here. Sometimes he will switch back to the original position, sometimes he will play it with the fingers, but this is the position where you'll see Blackmore playing it in like 99% of the videos you'll see online. So you might be saying, well, that's another popular position where people play the riff, so isn't that correct? Well, no, because most people's exposure to Smoke on the Water is not a live video, it's the original studio recording. And if you want to do the live argument, the most iconic live version of Smoke on the Water from Made in Japan still features the riff in its original position. So that's a non-argument. And some people might also be saying, well, but the notes are correct in the 035 version, so what does it matter? Well, it matters because it sounds different. When you see a tab of Iron Man online, for example, most tabs will tell you to play it correctly in the low E string. A few tabs occasionally will tell you to play it on the A string, but everyone mostly agrees that it's on the low E string, which is correct. It sounds different. If you listen to the original recording, it sounds a lot thicker. And that's the case for Smoke on the Water. And if you want to take the "oh, but the notes are correct" argument to an extreme, could you imagine if I went up on stage and played Stairway to Heaven like this? Your average bar goer might not notice the difference, but any guitar player who sees that is going to rightfully ridicule me. Because while yes, the notes are correct, the position and the technique are wrong, which makes it sound different. And that's the case for Smoke on the Water as well. So why has Smoke on the Water never been corrected like this? I don't know. I think it's partially due to the laziness in guitar players, like some bad transcriber originally wrote the tab as 035, and then most guitar players are just lazy and they trust tabs more than their ears, so they just assume it's correct. And it's also partially because Purple doesn't have as big of a following, especially with younger people, as Sabbath or Zeppelin. So there isn't a lot of like weird younger folk like me who listen obsessively to those old recordings to figure out the correct way to play them and post correct tabs and guitar lessons online. I think that's the real reason why. But I think we can also take an important lesson off this whole thing. Trust your ears more than your eyes. Just because you see a tab of a riff or a solo that's played a certain way, that doesn't mean it's correct. Always trust your ears more than your eyes. Compare live versions to studio recordings because, like we see with Blackmore here, he later switched to a different position which sounds different. But always trust your ears more than your eyes when it comes to learning songs. Just because the song's third tab says it's correct doesn't mean it's correct. And I want to give a shout out to two people. The first one is Carl Brown from Guitar Lessons 365. He is the first person I ever saw who actually taught it in the correct position. Now he's undermined by the fact that he plays it with downstrokes, so it's not 100% correct, but it's at least in the correct position. That's the only guitar lesson I saw who actually taught it there. And the second person is M. Galbo, who is a fellow Blackmore aficionado, and he actually plays Smoke on the Water 100% correctly. So that's it for this little video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm working on an album at the moment. Go support me on Bandcamp or something, and I'll see you around. And remember, 035 is a lie.